It was midnight in Indonesia, and I was staying with a Balinese family. Music wafted in from my bedroom's window, and culture seemed to be inviting me to go outside. I summoned up my courage and descended down the stairs that sat adjacent to my room. At the foot of the stairs sat Ajiari, wielding a guitar and smoking a cigarette. Ajiari is a 45-year-old Balinese man, a freelance interior designer by day and a musician by night. He's a short man with eyes that have been tattooed by years and years of wisdom and experience. So I joined Ajiari and accepted culture's invitation. I quickly learned that Ajiari's perception of America was much different than my own. To him, every American had white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes, and he was shocked to learn that I was originally from Iraq and that I was Muslim. In fact, one of the first questions he asked me was, "So you're from Iraq, and you're Muslim, and you live in America. So are you an American?" I did not have an answer to this question. I had gone my entire life thinking I was just that Iraqi boy, and it never occurred to me that I'd be thought of as an American. We spoke for a couple more hours, and then I returned up to my room to ponder the question once more. I still did not have an answer. I was having an identity crisis. To better understand the so-called crisis, we will travel across the world. We will begin in America as we examine the face of the crisis and move on to the Middle East as we explore the origin of the crisis before finally returning to the doorsteps of Ajiari's home in Bali as we redefine the so-called crisis. But what exactly is an identity crisis? And how does one know that they're having one? Well, according to user Kennedy of Urban Dictionary, that guy wearing skinny jeans, Ferrari shoes, and an NI watch listening to Drake is having an identity crisis. Now I would know because I was that guy. When we first came to America, I wanted to be a gangster. I wore baggy jeans, cussed at people randomly, and listened to obnoxious rap music. And although Mr. Kennedy's description fit me perfectly, it's far from the truth. An identity crisis transcends our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and goes beyond our wardrobe. The term identity crisis was originally coined by the late psychologist Erik Erikson. He defined it as the condition of being uncertain of oneself, especially in regards to one's origin and one's culture. Erikson's own interest in identity crisis began in childhood. He was raised Jewish, but appeared very Scandinavian, thus he felt like an outsider from both groups. And this is oftentimes a root cause of the identity crisis. The need to belong to two or more groups simultaneously. Talia Ramirez of Montclair State University exposes this fact in a culture study that she performed on prolific author and poet Judith Ortiz Corfer. Corfer is a Puerto Rican immigrant who recently relocated to the United States and who faces a clash of cultures. She does not know whether to identify as Puerto Rican or as an American, and as the study progresses, her identity crisis arises. But through her journey, Corfer realizes that she does not have to choose between one side over the other, and that she can combine both for a more powerful impact. For example, as a woman in Puerto Rico, she states that she feels subordinate and inferior, but as a woman in America, she feels empowered and independent. Furthermore, Corfer realized that she can blend her writing styles for a more powerful impact. She realized that the elements of her writing that made it truly stand out were elements of her cultural duality. And I've been in Corfer's place. During the first year in America, the gangster period, if you will, I was playing soccer with two of my friends. The first, Salman, was 8 years old and was from Turkey. The second, Liat, was 33 years old and was from the heart of Baghdad. So Salman messed up a play, and I, in my gangster fashion, looked at him and said, "Screw you, man!" Well, I didn't say screw you per se. I had a different choice of words, but I think I know what you mean. You know what I mean. And then Liat turned to me innocently and asked, "What is this screw you?" So I looked at him, confidence brimming in my eyes, and I said, "It means good job." In that moment, I began to feel the friction between the cultures. In that moment, I had two choices, whether to tell the truth and lose face, or lie and preserve my newly found identity. So Corfer realized that she can take a negative and turn it into a positive. But what happens when the identity crisis goes unsolved? The current chaos in the Middle East can be attributed to a type of identity crisis. P.R. Khamrazmami of the Middle Eastern Review of International Affairs states in his article, Who Am I? The Identity Crisis in the Middle East, that it all began in World War I, when the Ottoman Empire was split and it was forced to cede much of its lands to European powers. These European powers drew lines upon a map, signaling the newly found territories. But when they did this, they ignored the religious, ethnic, and cultural differences within these nations. And this is why these nations have been unable to forge a national identity and are in a perpetual cycle of chaos. And this chaos hurts a key group of individuals: young people. According to the most recent United Nations statistics, Iraq has approximately 36 million individuals, 18 million of which are under the age of 19. And at a time when the average Iraqi makes $2.5 a day, these individuals are struggling. They see no way out. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, because metaphorically speaking, there isn't even a tunnel at all. And the educational system isn't helping either. It has gotten so flawed that now someone can just pay a teacher to give them a good grade. And thus, these individuals become disenfranchised and lose sight of who they truly are. And this is why organizations such as ISIS are so powerful. They come in and prey on these individuals and assign them a new identity. And because these new individuals do not know who they are, they're susceptible to exploitation. We as a world must realize that the identity crisis provides us with a choice, and that this choice may be a dangerous one. We must seek better understanding to make the best of the identity crisis and not let it take advantage of who we truly are. So finally, let's return to the doorsteps of Ajari's home in Bali as we redefine this so-called crisis. In her book, The Search for Fulfillment, Dr. S.K. Woodbourne of the University of Massachusetts at Amherst states that your identity defines who you are, but it does not have to define you for life. An identity crisis is a mere roadblock for the road of progress. And the term crisis should even be redefined. In fact, in 1968, when Erickson set out his definition, he made sure to define crisis as a turning point, rather than a period of debilitating or profound difficulty. So let's turn these crises into turning points and open the door for growth. Through her journey in America, Kofé realized that she can blend her two identities whenever she put pen to paper, crafting a culture that is simply her own. And I've been in Kofé's place, and my family has witnessed firsthand the chaos that is in the Middle East. We fled Iraq in 2006, fleeing war and religious persecution. And gaining asylum in America has provided me with a gift that I continue to appreciate every single day. I realized that I now held the power of changing two worlds at once. While Ajari's question put me in a very uncomfortable place, it was one that I desperately needed an answer for. My entire life I had been taught that being an American was a negative thing, but in that moment I realized that I had become what I feared, an American. Nowadays, I think of Liat in our soccer game, and I imagine him at a soccer game of his own, watching his own son play. And then his son makes an amazing play, and then Liat stands up and looks at him and says, "Screw you!" Thinking it means, "Good job." I hope that he truly found the right definition. In that moment, I realized that I did not have to choose between one thing or the other. That there is power in duality and power in differing perspectives. I realize that I can blend the two identities no matter how different they may be. And anyone can do this. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 identities. Anything more than 4, you're kind of pushing it. We have to realize that there's power in duality and power in being multiple things at once. As the great artist Leonardo da Vinci once said, the greatest harmonies exist between the colors that are opposed. And to those struggling to find their true identity, it's okay to be a jock that's a nerd. It's okay to be a country who likes rap. And it's okay to be an Iraqi that's an American. Or you can even be that guy wearing skinny jeans, Ferrari shoes, and an Anaheim watch listening to Drake. We, as a world, must learn to abandon the black and the white and embrace the gray.